Hi there. Today I'm going to discuss about three-tier architecture and also its implementation using .NET platform, and we'll discuss about the whole architecture thoroughly. So, why should we use an architecture while developing an application? Well, there are so many points of using an architecture. First of all, it will make your application more organized, and then it will be really easy to understand and extend the application. Suppose that you're working in a software company and you made an application using a particular architecture, not just three-tier architecture, maybe using some other architecture. And assume that you left the company and someone new came into your position. So because you followed an architecture, the new guy will be able to understand the application very quickly, and if you didn't, then it will be really troublesome for the new person or the new guy to understand the application and make modifications in it. And then new modules can be added in very short time, and it's also easy to track bugs and problems of your application. Now I'm going to show a bad example of application development, which means without following an architecture, and the problem of it. Well, this is just a user registration form, and if I click on this register button, you see there are some codes written in the code behind file. And basically what this code does is it makes a connection to a SQL Server database and insert user given values in it. Well, this is actually a bad programming style because suppose that the UI designer made some changes in this form. Assume that he added some new fields and or something, or new validations in the form. So if he does so, then you have to change your code in the code behind file. And suppose the UI designer made changes to 20 to 30 pages or forms, then you have to change your code to that 20 to 30 forms, which will make the application really ugly. So, and there's also security issues about that, because if you code like this, then the hackers will be able to penetrate the database and retrieve important informations using SQL injection or maybe some other penetration technique. So, and that will be not good. Now I'm going to discuss about the three-tier architecture. I mean the way this architecture works. Basically, the three-tier architecture is divided into three parts, and those are view or the UI part, then the business object part, and the data access or DB part. Actually, they are called layers. So the three-tier architecture has three layers: the view layer, the business object layer, and the data access or DB layer. This business object refers to real world objects. For example, an employee has some entities. He has a name, an address, a contact number, a salary, a position in a company, and some other things. So all of them are part of the employee object. So the business of object refers to those sort of things, and the data access is the database part. The database commands such as insert, update, delete are done through here, and the view is just a user interface where the user views information or sends some information into the database. So whenever a user is uh, submitting some information, it goes to the business object layer, and this layer validates all the information given by the user. For example, suppose that uh, the the name of a user cannot be more than 10 letters, 10 or 12 letters, but the user uh, gave input of 15 to 16 letters. So this layer will check or validate the name of the user, and if the validation is successful, then it will send the information to the database layer. And the database, what this layer will do is basically it will communicate with the database and insert the user given values in it, or if the user requests for information, then it will show the information through this business object layer to the user. Now whenever an user submitting some information, it goes to this business object layer, and here it validates the informations given by the user. For example, the password given from the user requires 8 digits, but the user submitted just 6 digits. So this will check the number of digits given by the user, and if the validation is successful, then it will submit the information to this data access or DB layer, and this layer will communicate with the database and insert the informations in it. And if the validation is not successful, then it will throw an exception or an error message to the user telling that the information given is incorrect or something like that. If the user wants to view some information, the operation is basically the same. It will go through the business object layer, then the business object layer will communicate with the data access layer, and in this layer will communicate with the SQL Server database or the database server, and fetch information and give it back to the user, also through this business object layer. And that is actually how the three-tier architecture works.